A few weeks ago, I showed that I had gotten this terrain set from Mantic Games for that firefight Mantic Games diorama that I'm going to be working on. And it's a modular pieces, and comes with little connectors and things like that, so you can put it together in lots of different ways. And I played around with it. I think I finally came up with a layout that I'm happy with. Here you can see I kind of built basically a box, and my thinking behind it is that it would have been a modular kind of building with these corrugated metal sides and bottoms, and that, during the construction they had different modular pieces so that they could either use these metal things just for solid pieces like the floor or something like that, and then there would have been concrete sections that were also modular that could be put together. I would have never thought about that. And one of the a building near where I used to work had gone up several years ago, and it went up really, really fast. I mean, they had cleared the lot out, and you could tell they were doing preparation work. And then all of a sudden one day I drove by, and they had just in like a week, they had gone from there not being a building on the lot to suddenly there was most of a 3-story building. And what I saw that they were using was these just giant, literally squares of concrete with, some reinforcing bars sticking out of them. And they were just building it like Lego almost. I mean, I'm sure there was more to it than that. They had giant cranes there moving the things around. But, I saw them. I actually stopped one time at lunch and just watched, and they were putting down like a section of a floor, and then here's a section of a wall, and another section of a wall, and another section of a wall, and just stacking the things together. And I looked into it a little bit, and I saw like there would be hotels built where each room was like just a completed box, and they would just slide them in next to each other and stack them on top of each other. And, that got the basic shapes in place. So I knew that, doing this, thinking that, not that I needed to overthink it, because, I mean, come on, there's going to be, these orc guys inside of it. So, I mean, it's not like it's realistic. But in my mind, I thought, okay, there's a bit of plausibility there for the logic behind how this building would get built. So I tried different layouts, and I wanted something that that looked like it had been at one time a full building, and then I haven't decided if it got blasted from this area and blew out some of the back wall, or if it took a big round here through this one and that blasted out the back of the wall, because either way it could happen. How did this computer terminal survive? I don't know. I just thought it would look cool there. But the set was pretty neat, because what they give you is all of these little connectors here like this. And there's some that fit up in corners. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's some that fit up in the corners like that. The back of this computer terminal is a connector. It allows you to connect 2 walls. And you can see on this side of it, it fills one hole, but it doesn't fill the other. I'm not going to worry about filling all those in. I'm not going to get that concerned with it. But I did this shape because my idea will be that I'll have, if you imagine this being the diorama base, and I'm still not sure the size that I'm going to make it, because I'm going to need to put all the elements in place and kind of plan how big I want it to be. But it's going to be, I'm thinking, maybe minimum a foot by a foot. It's going to be fairly large. But I'm going to have this diorama, or this building in place, and the vehicle coming in from this direction with the other guys around it, like they're moving in on foot. And then I'm going to have these orky dudes in here, like they're kind of hiding out, waiting to ambush them. and maybe kind of looking through, here like this, like they're watching them come in, and just waiting to ambush them. And it won't be a real, there won't be a whole lot of them in here. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to do 4 of these guys, just from a size standpoint. I think if I tried to do, I think there's 8 in the kit, in the Marauders kit, the orcs. There's 8 of them. I think if I tried to do all 8 and stick all 8 in here, it wouldn't work, and I wouldn't want a lot of them hanging around on the outside because it kind of defeats the purpose of an ambush. But that's kind of what I'm going to be doing with the layout. But yeah, building this building was kind of cool, and I also wanted to do it open from the back like this, so that it will allow me to still get inside of it and paint it. Now it's going to be there's just going to be a lot of dry brushing and washes and things like that. So it's not going to be anything super fancy. Not that I don't know that any of the work that I do is super fancy, but it's just going to be, some very simple techniques and things like that. And what I'm doing is I'm bending all these sections of rebar. I keep finding ones that I missed. I'm just bending them because, in my mind, if it gets blasted, it's not going to leave it perfectly straight. It's going to be bent around a lot. And I have to be careful because, bending plastic, it wants to break. You can see the white stress marks forming on them as I bend them. But I also, it gives me plenty of texture to paint, and these things I'm going to put lots of rust on them, and because I want this thing to look like it's been blasted out and abandoned for a while, and maybe that truck and the guys in it are going to be, they heard reports of these orky marauders being out there, and they're going to go see if they can find them, and these guys are going to try and ambush them, and that'll be the scenario. I tried to add to some of the parts didn't have damage, like these fence rail things that go along the top, and so I just cut out sections of it and bent some in, and then on the ends here they just all extended out, were square, so I kind of cut those up and bent them around, and just left them kind of I need to glue that, kind of like, I figured if this got blown up, they would also get bent out of shape. I've got these are supposed to be floodlights of some sort. I'm going to try and figure out how I can paint it so it looks like they're cracked and broken. I certainly don't want them operational. But I'm also going to have, as part of the groundwork, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but it's got these sections of pipe. And what I'd like to do is take just one of the small sections and cut it in half, and then use my knife to kind of make it look like it was blown apart, that it's not just a smooth, clean cut, but jagged edges, and then drill it out. And then I'd like to have, out of one end of one of these pipes, just this kind of glowing green liquid flooding out on the ground. The ground base is going to be desert. One, that's going to be an easy base to do. I won't have to put a lot of grass tufts or anything like that. But 2, I want the vehicles to be, and the uniforms to be kind of tan. Normally they're darker, they're a dark green. The uniforms are kind of black with some green on them. I want the uniforms to be tan. I just think it looks cooler and it'll show the detail better. And I also want the vehicle to be tan because it just shows weathering and chipping better. I think it'll just present itself better on the base so that, people can see the details and things like that. But I think it'd be kind of cool to have, I've got a piece that I think I can mount along the side here and have a pipe come out and then have it kind of broken, and then just this green puddle of stuff on the ground. Who knows what it is? It'll tell its own story. But I just thought it would be an interesting visual feature. But anyway, this went together fairly simply. And I just found that just laying the pieces out. I didn't even start clipping them together. I just kind of laid them out to see what pattern I wanted them in, and then clipping these on. The clips were kind of difficult. I had to sand the connecting pegs for a lot of them to get them in there. Although I did find that when I decided on the shape and then I was formally gluing them in, that when I put some Tamiya extra thin on them, they just kind of slid right into place. So that helped. I'm not sure if I'm going to go in and fill in any of these gaps. I think, thinking of this as a modular thing that's been partially blown apart, it makes sense to me that it would just not be, it wouldn't be holding up as well over time. So, but I'm looking forward to painting this part because I've never painted terrain. I don't know that it's going to be much different than anything else I'd paint in weather. I'll paint it. I'll do a lot of streaking, probably do a lot of dry brushing. There's just these big open areas. I mean, I'm telling you, that is just going to be beautiful to rust right there. So I may do some hairspray chipping. I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point. I'm still pondering it. But I'm really looking forward to putting all these elements of the diorama together, and because I've not done a big diorama like this before, and I've not done one with terrain in it. So I'm really looking forward to both of those.